Welcome to our video tutorial. So in this video tutorial we'll continue writing our file management project. So previously we have seen how to create a simple txt file in a specified folder that we provide. So in this tutorial we are going to see how can we store or how can we save simple text to the previously created file. So first let's add some text box to write the content to be saved to our file. So there you go, and we need one button. There you go. So let's change the text content, txt content, and our button btn write to file. Okay, so text property, we have to change the text property of the button to write to file, and for the text box we have to make it empty. There you go. This is our design. Now what we want is, when we click this button, let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay, thank you. So when we click this button, what we want is, we want our Java code to take anything being written in here in this text box and save it to this text file that we created in the previous video. Okay, so let's go to our button click or mouse click event, and in here we'll write our code. Okay, so first thing we have to do is we have to create our file object. So our file class is already being imported. So Java IO file, we have imported this package when we create our file. So now we just initialize a new file object, and we provide a file name. The file name is, as we have discussed in the previous video, the file name is being built using the folder location from this text box and the file name from this text box. So in our source code, what we are going to do is we're going to use this concatenation here. Okay, it means txt location, the folder to create the file to, and the exact file name. So we concatenate it using slash. Now we have the file. What we are going to do now is we're going to check if the file exists first, because we want to write content to a file. So first we have to check if that file exists. If it does exist, then we just save that content into the previously existing file. If that file doesn't exist, then we're going to create it. Okay, so first let's check if file object dot exists. So we're going to use exists, and exists returns true if and only if the file or directory denoted by this abstract path name exists, false otherwise. So if the file exists, it will return true. So if file exists returns true, then we can write our code here. But what if the file doesn't exist? If the file doesn't exist, which means file.exists returns false, then we don't have the file. So we have to create a file here. Now when we exit our if condition, we already have a file. If it's previously created, fine, otherwise it will be created here. Okay, so when we exit our if condition, we are sure that we have the file. Okay, so we will create a FileWriter object. We have a FileWriter class in Java. As you can see, I have written F and W in capital letters, so that Java will, or NetBeans will recognize it and provide me with a suggestion to import Java IO FileWriter package. So our Java IO FileWriter package or class is being imported here. So now I can create an instance of FileWriter class. Okay, so let's make it writer and create a new object of FileWriter, and this FileWriter takes the file object that we have. Okay, I want to create a FileWriter on this specific file. Okay, now NetBeans is showing me an exception. It said unreported exception, IO exception, which means I'm trying to write something to a file. So an exception might occur. So you have to handle that exception. So let's put a simple generic try catch in our code. Exception. So we put our entire code here. Now the error vanishes, right? Now I'm going to use this writer object to write the content to the file. But first, we need BufferedWriter class. This BufferedWriter class actually takes the contents from our text box and writes that content using our FileWriter. Okay, what we should do now is we create a BufferedWriter object. If you specify, if you write the spelling correctly and case sensitive, then NetBeans will provide us a suggestion. So BufferedWriter is being imported at the top. So now I'll create a BufferedWriter object, and this BufferedWriter object requires the writer object we have created in the previous line. Now, because I have the BufferedWriter, now I can write the content in the text box. So BufferedWriter dot write. See this function, write function. It takes a string. Okay, so that's what I'm using now. So the content to be written is being taken from txt content, right? Txt content object that get text that we have added in our design here and changed the name to txt content. Okay, so this is our code. Okay, so this code simply saves the file to an already created file. Here we need to create our file. Okay, I just put a comment here to make sure that we didn't forget to write that code. Okay, so to create a file, what we are going to do is we just need to do create new file. We're going to call this create new file function. Okay, so to make sure if this file creates our file, this thing creates our file or not, we're going to accept the boolean value to be returned, and we should check if result is true. If result is true, then we're fine. The file is being created, so we can continue to the other line. If result is false, then our file isn't being created, is not created by any weird reason. Okay, so what we should do is we have to show our user a message that we are unable to create the file, and we have to return, which means the Java compiler will not reach this line, because we are not supposed to try writing a content to a file if we don't have that file, or if we are unable to create that file. Okay, so we have to put return here. Let's try our application now. Let's run our application. So right click on our file and click run file. So this will compile our code and provide us with the window we have built. There you go. So first we have to provide the folder location where our file is located. So this is our folder location, and our file name is training file.txt. As you can see it here, has to be correctly spelled. Training file. Sure. So this is our first line in this file. Okay, now click write to file. So nothing happened. We didn't see any message. We haven't put any message to be visible. Okay, so let's refresh our contents and let's try to open the file and see what happened. Okay, so there's nothing here. Let's check our code again, and this time we can debug our application. So we have missed. We need to put something here. So what we are going to do here is, after BufferedWriter.write, we need to show a message to the user that if it's successfully being saved, or if we are having any errors, it should be shown in the catch block. Content is written successfully. If any error occurred, we couldn't write the content to the specified file. Sorry. Okay, so this is what we should do. And in the try catch block, we can add one more finally block. In that finally block, all we need to do is just close our BufferedWriter, right? We have started, or we have created our BufferedWriter here, so we have to close it. In finally close, I'm doing this in the finally. Sorry, our BufferedWriter has to be created outside of try catch block, so that I can access it in the finally dot close. There you go. Okay, what's happening? Surround statement with try catch. Okay, so this is it. This is what we have. Now the error is telling me that variable BufferedWriter might not have been initialized. Okay, so it's been declared here, so we can initialize it to null, and in the try catch block we'll initialize it to our FileWriter we have created. Okay, so now let's try what we have here. Let's put a break here and let's debug our code. So right click on our file, then debug file. Okay, there you go. This is our file. And now let's take the folder. Let's give the file training file.txt. Our first sample content. There you go. Now when we click write to file button, NetBeans will jump into our break line. So here let's see what we have in the writer. Okay, BufferedWriter. Content is written successfully. Okay, so it looks like everything is well, but we're not getting our text in our text box. So maybe we have made some mistake. Let's investigate our code. Let's try to trace our code from the beginning. Okay, sorry, I missed something here. After BufferedWriter.write, we have to flash our BufferedWriter, so we have to call flash function. Okay, so actually this BufferedWriter.flash function will apply the writing process. So this function is actually writes the content to our file. Okay, so let's remove our break and let's try our code one more time. Okay, let's take the folder location. So our file name is training file.txt. Our first sample content. Write to file. Now content is written successfully. Okay, thank you. Now let's check our file. See, as you can see, its size is 1 KB. Now we have something written in our file. Previously it shows 0. So when we edit our application, there you go. This is our file. This is the content we are trying to write to our file. Okay. Okay, so this is how to write a simple text content to our text file using Java. I hope it's clear. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions of any kind, please please tell us in comment section below. And also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I've got to get notification to our future videos. Thank you very much for watching.